Do you think that, talking about crypto, do you think that a digital asset will ever dethrone the US dollar as the world's reserve currency?
No, but I think it will help stabilize our dollar as the value of it has decreased. I don't know because my little banking friends won't tell me nothing no more because they don't want me to run and tell them on here. um, but I do think the implementation of stable coins at some point and how they're involving crypto is going to be done to help stabilize the dollar. I don't know because of the oil and petrodollar regime if they can transfer the petrodollar agreement into crypto. But I don't think a country can afford to make a digital currency its primary currency if it's been running this long. Shadi, you're a historian, so I don't know. You would know more than I. I just think politically that can send some shockwaves, and then I think other countries could pose and posture themselves. Like hypothetically, if we went to Bitcoin as a national reserve, wouldn't that make Michael Saylor automatically king? To fight amongst the kingmakers already. It's tough. So those are the parts of, and that's above my pay grade. That we get into the Bilderberg. Ooh, I want to smoke. But those are conversations you have to think about. If we're going to change the entire structure of what currency looks like and how we exchange, even if it should be done, if other people own more of that asset more than the Federal Reserve, which is
problem. You want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, well, we at some point in time, the American dollar is not going to be the world's reserve currency. It's not going to do that forever, right?
Yeah.
True.
It might be 10 years, it might be 1,000 years, who knows? But that's what we know, right? Like the reason why it's the world's reserve currency now is that it was agreed upon, and America, superpower, world's strongest nation, right? So, bully pulpit. So
hello.
when America is no longer the world's strongest nation, that's when it will no longer have the reserve currency, probably. So who will have the reserve currency at that point in time? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably won't be Bitcoin because Bitcoin is not tied to any one particular country. And but it may be another form of digital asset, cryptocurrency that is more tied to a specific country, perhaps. But it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, the dollar will not be the reserve currency for the world forever.
Forever, I agree.
Forever is a long time. I'm with y'all. I don't see it happening. Ian, to your point of the fact that the amount of financial reshaping that you would have to do globally,
that's a great term.
Political reshaping that you'd have to do globally. I don't think it's a replace situation. I agree with you, Shadi. It's not a forever thing. I think in the short term, and I guess maybe in our lifetime, who knows? Maybe we'll be here for another 150 years. I think it's a mixture. I think it's the dollar plus a digital ecosystem. I think it's along with, because even if you think about stable coins, what makes it stable? The dollar. Right? So even inside of that system, the dollar is still holds strong. And so we'll see what happens. I think it'll be a coexist. I think, yes, you have the dollar, but you also have digital ecosystems until that point where it's like, it's not the dollar anymore. Then we're talking about complete change, a complete global change.
Was Web3 a failure?
You know what? Somebody was talking about Web 2, Web 3. The definitions have changed. I don't know if it's a failure.
The reshaping, the reimagining.
The
way they did the recession. That's the tricky part. It's like we're just in interesting times. And to your point, when the forces were stronger and we had still have a great or strongest military presence on earth. But if BRICS adopts or creates a digital currency, how does that look? A lot of this has to do with timing. But I think it's interesting, all the banks, institutions, and even in business, everyone hedging now with crypto when they hated it is definitely a sign of something to come.
Yeah, I think that the new idea of Web3, and maybe it's the old idea and it's been reshaped, is the fact that today, presently, we interact with the internet, and going forward, we'll have AI agents that will interact with the internet on our behalf. It won't be us typing, and it won't be us typing in searches and creating. Those things will be created for us through AI. So if that is the Web3, I can't say we failed yet because we didn't get there yet, but we're on the cusp of it for sure.
To Chris Johnson's point, the value of the dollar has fallen 96% since 1913. So it's not that much room left for it to go to.
Still got 4%.
Firepower. It's like, bro.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Let's talk about Block.
Yeah,
that's the company. Obviously, used to be Square. It was a lot surrounding that. At one point in time, you said that Square was going to be the next JP Morgan.
Chase. They killed my career with it, and
so we
shot. Listen,
we get everything else.
We have Jack Dorsey. We have Jack Dorsey coming speaking at InvestFest. So maybe that's a question that we can ask him as far as like the roadmap of what happened to the stock. But okay,
going to Bilderberg. I don't know if you can tell the truth. Listen, I was on the phone with some people at JP Morgan when they laughed when I said that, and they told their plan how they're going to take over crypto, and did it. It's a dirty game. Shout out to everybody, JP Morgan, James Pierpont, 1 and 2.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Block had an interesting time for sure, to say the least. But yeah, it's kind of been on the move recently, at least, and almost at like $80 a share. So, what's the deal with that?
I think they're catching some of the tailwind success of crypto. One good important lesson that I've learned early, though, is pioneers usually end up with the arrows in the back and not the gold. I think they were early innovators in the adoption of Bitcoin and tried to make it mainstream. I just think it was a little bit too early. And timing in this is really important. Michael Saylor is beloved now, but Cathie Wood and Jack face some opposition from trying to run this strategy. So I know they've been on the move as of recent. Definitely want to ask him, where does he think the stock will go over the next 4 or 5 years? But they're far from their highs, all-time highs, 289. So I think they were trying to reshape the way the banking looks, and I think that is still needed for sure, because banking infrastructure has not changed and it hasn't greatly benefited the people that they serve. And that's why I think you see an Ethereum come in, Bitcoin come in, Michael Saylor. And all this is really arbitrage on you're not getting enough return for the people that you're serving. That's the outcry with it. Like, if banks took care of, like, I remember when CDs were given 10% a long time ago, but I remember there was a time where like a CD was a safe investment and you can get a good return. I think the desire for NFTs, meme coins, crypto is that the returns are not high enough while the job market is falling apart, while inflation is running at an all-time high. So I think the core of all of this is banking not doing what they're supposed to do, and not taking care of their constituents the way that they should. But I think Block was the first combatant to that banking space, and they paid an ultimate price for it. But I hope they can rebound.
Yeah, they the news of them being added to the S&P has obviously helped the stock.
Promising. Yeah.
They replaced Hess, whose deal, I mean, remember they announced that deal like 2 years ago? It finally got through. So Hess has been removed. Block has been brought in. It isn't even just a Block story. I think it's a fintech story. If you look at all the fintech companies, they've taken a hit. And a lot of it, I think primarily, I think you're spot on with that, right? When you think about where they were headed in terms of Bitcoin, in terms of actually accepting it on the platform 2 to 3 years ago, and now to see like, hey, Visa stablecoin, MasterCard stablecoin,
hello,
you can kind of see how they were a bit derailed, and it would be interesting to ask him some of these questions, and I'm sure he'll have insight that nobody else has
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's far from its all-time highs. The fintech space is still a space. I'm not touching fintech, just because of obviously.
Wait, none of fintech. Visa technically, it's a laggard.
Is it a fintech? I mean, it has fintech tendencies,
components to it.
Yes, that I mean,
oh,
that
like
one,
pure fintech.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, definitely still on the watch list. It's been on the watch list since you were spoken about it in 2020. Watching it carefully, just not invested in it yet.
So what happened? What's the real story of what happened with the Square situation?
It's Bilderberg issue. What you say? Nobody bigger than the program. Me, not bigger than that program. Ooh, the little banking. No, for our conference call, they were laughing, bro. I'm like, oh, you think Square gonna overtake us? We own, and they start listing all the assets they own for 10 minutes. If I was called a call, like, wait, did I do something wrong? She's like, bro, just do the little chase events. Chill.
MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover at the time. I'm sure all of them had a role in making sure that this didn't work.
Capital One.
This can't work. Not now. Not till we figure out how we have implementation ready.
Which is a great lesson in learning if you're building, because everyone talks about disruption, but disruption to some is a threat to others. You have to know who you're going to sell the offboard to. That conversation goes dramatically different if they have a partnership with MasterCard or Visa, and they're going to be a facilitator, a gateway into that ecosystem. All that, we're going to take over the banking infrastructure. No. It does not. The world does not work like that. Regardless of what they say on the interwebs.
It's a Web3 conversation.
Gary Webb. Rest so. But if they come back, I'll be the first one applauding.
ISO. We're calling it ISO that day.
For sure. For sure.